Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. I get so excited every year to film this video, and I've been waiting for weeks to film it. I was waiting for all of the curriculum to come in, all of the books that we're going to be using. So it is finally all here. I have so many things laid across this kitchen table. It's pretty insane, but I'm so excited to show you guys what we're going to be using for this year's homeschooling. If you are new here, I am Kayla, and I'm a homeschool mom to 2 kids. Well, I have 4 kids, but I'm homeschooling 2 of them. So I've got Riley, who's going to be going into 2nd grade, and then Jackson is going into kindergarten this year. Then the other 2 will just be around, and I've got to figure out what I do with them. So I've been filming these videos the last, what is it, like going on 5 years, I think, that I've been homeschooling. Every year it seems like we just add a little bit into our homeschooling in terms of like subjects, in terms of what books we do. Like when I started with Riley at like pre-K 3, we were doing nowhere near this much stuff. So I want to preface it by saying like we just go introducing things every year. Last year we introduced like history that we hadn't done up until like 1st grade. So my hope with this video is not to like overwhelm you, just to show you some options, and hopefully it just gives you a little insight into how we homeschool. I have so many videos on my channel of like homeschool day in a life videos. If you want to go check those out, I'll leave some link down below. This video is also probably going to be very long, so I'll try to leave some timestamps down below too if you want to like skip around to different subjects and things if you don't want to watch like the entire thing. And I also have an Amazon storefront where I keep like shoppable lists of curriculum and books and art supplies, like things that you might need in your homeschooling. So hopefully you can check those out if you just need, again, just some ideas and stuff. I want to start off with the fact that, first of all, we are a Catholic homeschooling family. So I do a lot of Christian-based stuff and then add a little bit of our Catholicism into the things that we teach. That's one of the beautiful things about being able to homeschool, is spending time teaching your children the faith. So you're going to see some of that in the different materials that I have picked. But we are trying to start our day with, I don't like to say morning basket because, I don't know, morning basket seems like you always have like this perfectly curated basket of like exactly what materials you're going to use. And sometimes that works for people. Like some people have the same exact thing that they do every day. They have like the morning menus, which again works for some people. For us, what I have found is we try to just sit together and have breakfast. And over breakfast, we do some version of morning basket where I read to the kids, where if I have just a quick second in between, you know, drinking some coffee, I open up one of these books. It is helpful to have a stack of books like on the kitchen table where you're having breakfast, whether it's in a basket, whether it's not, whatever. It's just, it's easy to have something that you can reach for. So for our like morning basket time, there's 2 books that I've been using with the kids. And I say that we've been using them because we have already kind of started into the year. Not all of the subjects, but this we've already started. We kind of homeschool year round. So you'll see a little bit more about what I mean when I get to some of the other subjects. But this is a book that I love. This is a Christian book. It's not a Catholic book, but it's a Christian-based book. The pictures are beautiful. It's just a little like snippet of information about God, about what the Bible teaches. So like this one says God created man and woman in his image. And then it's just like a little thing to read, and the pictures are pretty. It gives you some scripture that you can refer to if you want to like go more into it. This one here says like God keeps his promise, and then there's like a little blurb about that. So over breakfast, the kids have enjoyed just like having me read to them something, and then I can use that opportunity to expand on it if I want to talk about sin, if I want to talk about like, okay, now what is an example of sin, whatever. It's just something to go off of. There's that book that's really great, and then also this one, Wonderful, which is just reading through the Psalms of the Bible. So again, in the mornings, if I have a minute, I'll just read one of these. This one here says Jesus is our shepherd, and then it just has like the psalm, and it has a pretty picture and just something that I can read to the kids. But you can do the same concept with even like very inexpensive books. Like my sister had gotten me this book for like in one of the kids' Easter baskets. I believe it was from the Dollar Tree, you guys. This is super cute, like my little book of Dear God letters, and it's these little letters written from children to God, and it talks about, I don't know, bullying, or it talks about lying to your parents. Just something short. The whole idea is that it's something short that you can read together. And to me, prioritizing something faith-based in the morning, what it does is it ensures that we are discussing some aspect of our faith. Even if the rest of the day goes, you know, in a very bad direction, even if the rest of the day my toddler distracts me or whatever, the kids are in a mood, we're always having like that morning touch time to talk about the Bible, talk about a verse, talk about something without having to go straight into like, okay, now we're writing or we're copying or we're doing copy work. I just like having a discussion. Something else that I'll have like in our morning basket time is some kind of poetry, because I've recently started like introducing the kids to poetry. I never understood poetry growing up and I was never really into poetry, but now as an adult, I have a lot more appreciation for it. And this book, you guys, I think I fell in love with this book. I saw somebody else talk about, I rented it from the library. I'm gonna actually buy my own copy. This is A Child's Garden of Verses by Robert Louis Stevenson. The poems in this book and the illustrations are beautiful. And again, coming from someone that does not at all, like I never grew up with poetry, I was like, poetry doesn't make any sense. What the heck are they saying? This book is beautiful. Like, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but this is one of my favorite books and I can't wait to just have it here in our collection. So again, that's kind of what our morning basket time looks like. We'll read either a short story or a short little faith-based blurb, some poetry, and that is how we will start our day. Before I keep going though, I do want to mention, we are based in Florida, so we're a Florida homeschooling family, and one of the beautiful, like, greatest blessings that we have been given in the last 2 years is that we qualified for a scholarship. So one of the really beautiful things about that is that I've been able to try out different curriculums and buy different manipulatives and purchase just a lot of things here for our library collection that we wouldn't have been able to if I wasn't receiving some funds for that. So when I'm showing you things, just keep that in mind. Like, it may look like a lot of things. You don't need a lot of things to homeschool. Like, you really do not. So let this just give you ideas, but if you don't have this many books, if you don't have this many toys or whatever, like, it's okay. There was a time in my life where we homeschooled with very just minimalistic stuff, like one course book or like one printable nature study. Like, you don't need a million things. And I don't want anyone to ever feel like they need to spend a ton of money to homeschool. Like, that's not ever my intention. Again, a lot of stuff like this you can rent from the library. A lot of the books you can get for free from the library, or you can thrift books. One of my favorite websites is Thrift Books, where you can get books super, super cheap. So those are always options if you're considering homeschooling and you just don't want to spend a fortune. Okay, so after morning basket, then what we are going to be doing this year is we're going to be focusing on our core subjects. And that's the same thing that we did last year. For me, when I think of core subjects, we're talking math and language arts or literature or spelling. Those are kind of like the non-negotiables for the day. So the kids always know that no matter what happens, we're gonna, at the very minimum, do math and language arts, reading, spelling, phonics now for Jackson since he's gonna be in kindergarten. And if we do nothing else that day, then that is a win. Everything else is going to be extra. So let's talk about math first, because I think math is just the easiest. So for math this year, I'm gonna continue with The Good and the Beautiful. I have really enjoyed using The Good and the Beautiful to teach math for Riley. So she's doing the 2nd grade math. She's already 31 lessons into it. I love that it is just super open and go. It tells you exactly what to say to the student. There's no guesswork. There's no separate like teacher's guide, or there's no separate like answer key. Like, this is the one math book that Riley has, and every morning she just opens it up. She knows that there's a lesson that she has to do. What I do enjoy about The Good and the Beautiful is that at the end of every lesson, there's usually some page that's like independent review. So it's independent work. It's just going over stuff that they have already learned. So if I'm busy with like the toddler, I can tell Riley, open up your independent review page and go ahead and work on that. And then when I get a minute, I'll go back and I'll teach today's like new lesson. This is like a spiral-based approach. So it's not mastery-based, which for Riley works in the sense that there's lots of new, fresh stuff being fed to her, and then they circle back in the independent reviews, or they circle back later on in the curriculum to go over and reinforce topics. I think that if Riley was just given like 14 pages of like just addition problems, she would get really bored, and honestly I would too. So I think that the way that everything is laid out with The Good and the Beautiful works really nice, and so far she hasn't had any issue with it. The math too comes with like a little box of manipulatives. I have a separate little clock, which I think is cute, but like this one comes with it. It also comes with money, because 2nd grade they're doing like a lot of money, and it comes with the coins. So you don't really technically need to buy extra things. The majority of what they're gonna need to learn math in 2nd grade is in in this box and in this book. So we've enjoyed this. And again, I forgot to mention in the beginning, I also want you guys, if you're interested in any of this, if you're interested in homeschooling, I have a new Instagram account. It's called Buell Homeschool. My intention for the year is really to share more stuff real time, just like what the day looks like for us, reviewing specific curriculum, you know, going more in depth with that, and like manipulatives, things we use, games we play, all of that on my Instagram. So if you're not following me already, I would love it if you would follow me there. But yeah, that is Riley's math stuff. And then for Jackson, he's gonna be doing the same. He's gonna be doing the Good and the Beautiful, their kindergarten math. Something to know about Good and the Beautiful, if you don't already know, is you can download for free their language arts and their math curriculum and print it out at home. And I did that for Jackson over the summer because we haven't gotten his scholarship funds in yet. So I just figured instead of spending the money, I would just print it out for free. And then when his scholarship money comes in, I'll order him his book. So he has like the hard copy book, but I don't technically need to. I could just have printed it out like this. And he's been working through, I think he's on lesson 14 now of the math. Same concept, it's just very open and go. The lessons are very simple. And the illustrations, like with the Good and the Beautiful, are really pretty. Like the entire course book is very pretty to look at. It's very just nicely laid out. So whatever, it's not broken, so we're not gonna reinvent the wheel. We're gonna keep doing Good and the Beautiful for math for both of the kids. And then we're gonna move on to language arts. And language arts looks a little different for both of the kids because they're at different levels, obviously. For Jackson, I wanna start with Jackson. In kindergarten, this is a year where Jackson's gonna learn how to read. That is gonna be my primary focus as a teacher, is teaching him how to read, working on blending letters and reading words and reading the little books that you guys have seen me share like on my vlogs and on my Instagram. That's the same thing that I did with Riley. I'm using the same exact curriculum that I used with Riley. Riley is an excellent reader, and the Good and the Beautiful helped her learn how to read. I didn't use anything like really even supplementary for her, like maybe just extra books. But as far as curriculum goes, I use the Good and the Beautiful's kindergarten program for Riley, and I'm just gonna keep going with Jackson. The one thing to mention with kindergarten is for Good and the Beautiful, they have a kindergarten prep workbook. Jackson already worked through this, so you cannot start the kindergarten program before you have mastered what's in the kindergarten prep. So just keep that in mind. Kindergarten prep really just makes sure that the students know all of their letters, all of the letter sounds, and then starts teaching them about the vowels and the sounds that the vowels make. Because when they enter kindergarten, they're assuming that the kids already know their letter sounds and that they can identify vowels and they know the sounds that the vowels make. So just a heads up in case you're like, I'm not sure what I should do for my student. Jackson did preschool Good and the Beautiful last year, and then he continued on to the kindergarten prep. And now he is moving on to kindergarten, like the actual kindergarten curriculum. So this, again, I printed it out. They have the book format that you can purchase, but he's already gone through, I don't know how many lessons. He's on lesson 16 now, and we have just really enjoyed it. There's an interactive component to the Good and the Beautiful where it's called like letter tiles, and some of the stuff is like on an app on your phone. So Jackson likes that he can go onto my phone and he can do letter tiles, which is basically like how they practice spelling. But so far he's done really well with it, and again, easy for me since I've already used it. And for Jackson too, in the kindergarten curriculum, it comes with two different things. So it comes with these little cards. These are the reading booster cards. You do need to get these because this is where they're doing a lot of like the phonics instruction and making sure that they can blend certain letters, and you know, it's basically how they make sure that the kids are grasping the phonics concepts. So the little reading booster cards, I already had these from when Riley did it, so I kept them. And then you also get the reading booster books, and these are the little books that I have shown you guys a million times that go with the curriculum, and these are just like their little, you know, their little readers. This one is book 8, so it has like more words on the page. This is like the first one that Jackson ever read, I Dig, and it's literally like, I dig, I sit, I mix it, like very gentle when they first get started, but it's already been super cool just to watch him like start actually reading these books now. When he first started, he would get very, very frustrated. It was very difficult for him. But the more that we have practiced, like now he's reading full-on sentences, and I'm super proud of him. So again, this has been great for both of my kids so far. The only thing is that this year I wanted to try to introduce a little bit more practice, and since I now have access to more curriculum, or I have more money to spend essentially, I thought it might be fun to check out Catholic Heritage curriculum, because again, we're Catholic and they have a phonics program. So this is the phonics program. Essentially what this is it's like the same little readers that they're gonna be doing. Like these are a bunch of little, like I tear this out and then I can make it into like a little book. And the same way that these little books teach them how to read, these little books teach them how to read, but they're Catholic, like based, I guess, if that makes any sense. Like the little reader books will say like, I go to mass. Or like they have more faith tied into it, I guess. So I thought I would try it out. Really just gonna be for extra practice. Like you see this one says at mass. I don't know if you can see it. And it's got the phonics instruction and they're reading words about like a little boy who is going to mass. And I think that that's cute. That's not something that you're gonna see specifically in The Good and the Beautiful. Like for example, this little booklet, you're not gonna see it in The Good and the Beautiful. It says, we hope to see the Pope. And so again, I just thought if we're gonna do extra practice anyway, I might as well check something else out and see if this helps him, and it's just a way for us to tie in more of our faith. So I'm gonna give this a shot, and then I also picked up from Catholic Heritage curriculum. This is just number practice, which is really more for math, sorry. But it's just a book that has them practicing numbers and like more so like the handwriting piece of it. Because the one thing that I have taken away from The Good and the Beautiful is their handwriting. If you just get the language arts, it's not gonna ensure that they write the best. There is a separate handwriting thing, which I also bought. This one again is Catholic specific. So like for number 7, it's like I count 7 monstrances. And same thing with this little folks letter practice, which is again, Bible is for B, crown, candle, Christmas, dove. And so just extra handwriting practice, but more faith-based. This is actually the kindergarten handwriting book from The Good and the Beautiful. And this one is very short, and we may end up using it if he needs more practice with his handwriting. But just so you know, they do sell separately little handwriting notebooks. And I think you just need some level of something to help your student practice handwriting, whether it's this, whether it's some random Dollar Tree notebook, like literally whatever. I just think they need more practice, especially when they're first getting started. Jackson's handwriting used to be even more atrocious. It's still in the atrocious realm, but he's gonna get better as he practices. So that's technically language arts and phonics for Jackson. My one priority with Jackson is just teaching him how to read. So if we can work on that throughout the year, I will be very happy. Now moving on to language arts for Riley. Again, language arts, literature, spelling, handwriting, that whole world, this is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna be doing the 2nd grade Good and the Beautiful curriculum. This one I bought the actual book for her. She did 1st grade last year. She did really well with it. There is a mix of so many things in here. You're covering grammar, they're covering spelling, they're covering parts of speech, they're reading little stories and doing comprehension. Like there's a lot of really good stuff that they cover in the book. And again, the same with all the Good and the Beautiful stuff. I just like how it's laid out, very open and go. And I have not had an issue with it. I'm still on board with having a lot of the Good and the Beautiful stuff as part of our learning materials. The language arts and literature program, they also have like a lot of bundles that you can buy, or they sell them separately on the website too. A lot of reading material that you can purchase from there. And I just really like these books. I think that you just need to have your kids reading a lot of books throughout the year. Like that's how they're going to learn. Before I show you some of those, the curriculum also comes with their own set of little reader cards, the reading booster cards. So this is level C. She did level B last year. She started with level A, like the ones that Jackson has when she was in kindergarten. So again, they're always gonna get some kind of little phonics instruction and the little booster cards. I got for Riley from there a bunch of like chapter books. They are really cute. We already read through one of them. We read Little Glass Lake, the ducks one, and then they have like hummingbirds, turtles. It's like a series, it's a chapter book series. I had Riley read it to me, and it's at a level that she can read just fine. But I like that within this book specifically, there were topics about like the little girl at one point, like she lies to her mom about like sneaking out of the house. And so then she starts to like feel guilty about it, then confesses to her mom. And there's like this whole lesson about like not lying to your parents. But there's discussion about like how God will always forgive her. So like there is like that faith component in here. Again, Good and the Beautiful, the way that they discuss their curriculum, or that they say on their website, is like they are non-denominational. So it's not like specific doctrine of like different denominations, if that makes sense. It's just more so like, you know, things that all Christians can agree on. So whatever, I appreciated that book, and I like that there's these really cute stories that she can read. These have to do with like nature too, which Riley is really into nature. There's like a nature reader that I bought her that's about different animals. Like here you have all about honeybees, and it's a little story about honeybees, and she'll read these to me. That's one of our non-negotiables for the day, is Riley has to read something to me, whether it's a random book that we got from the library, whether it's one of these, whether it's her encyclopedia of animals, like something. She has to read something to me so that she's practicing and I can kind of get familiar with what words she's struggling with. So whatever, lots of reading material you will see throughout the rest of all of this. But they have a lot of cute series on their website. Like this is Molly and the Falcon, Wesley and the Wolves, just books that I bought for her to read. These are actually really cute because these, the way that they are written is there's like a little thing here that says like the student can read this part. You see like it says student, and then it says parent or teacher. So you're reading them together and you're taking turns. Because a lot of times like I'll give Riley a book. She's like, this one has a lot of words. And then she gets like stressed because it's like a lot. And so it's a little bit less, I don't know, less stressful when you're like, okay, no, we're gonna read it together. And then there's like a clear breakdown of the student's gonna read this, then the parent's gonna continue, and then the student, and then the parent. So I had never really seen a book like that, so we're gonna check that out. And then same thing as with Jackson, there is like a handwriting supplement that we may use. I just like having the workbooks available in case we need just extra practice. I try not to force Riley at this point to do one of these, because a lot of times she just wants to copy something that she found in her, again, her nature encyclopedia, or she wants to make her own little story about something. And as long as she's practicing her handwriting, I don't really care what it is. So I just have that in case she needs like something to get her started, but I don't really force a handwriting workbook on her at this point. The thing I do want to force more on her is spelling, because Riley is an excellent, excellent reader, but she struggles a little bit with spelling, and we identified that last year. Recently, we have been working through Spelling UC. Spelling UC is a very different kind of curriculum, and I don't really even know how to properly explain it, but every day they're reading through like a little passage. They're doing like poems right now. There's a set of instructions here where it's like underline the word that's the opposite of down, and then they have to read it and whatever. There's some kind of instruction there of things that they have to do. The other day it was like underline the words that rhyme. So again, it's Spelling UC, so it's more about like visualization and like reading the actual words, like what they look like. Then there's a part in each lesson where it's dictation. So like in my teacher handbook, there's like all these words that I'm going to dictate to Riley to spell, and then she'll go ahead and fill in these little blocks. So she does have to actually spell stuff from words that she's hearing, which I like. And then there is a good bit of handwriting practice that goes with it, because she's copying a lot of these little sentences. This level B, there's different levels, but level B started off really gentle for her. It hasn't really been super challenging for her, but I wanted to just try something different and just have her get some extra spelling practice. And for us, I felt like we had to go back to the basics, like just really easy words. So far, I have been enjoying this. So she's gonna know that she's gonna do her language arts like alongside extra spelling. Then I also found from Catholic Heritage Curriculum that they have a Catholic speller book. This book looks really great. They're working on specific blends here, and then there's like a word list, and then they have to go and identify them with the pictures. But again, you're spelling words like Lent and ashes, bishop. So if we're gonna do extra practice, I liked that. This one says like Adam and Mass. This one over here says, here's a little story for you. Can you print words from the list above to finish the sentences? And it's like Jesus was praying in the garden. Then wicked men arrested him and took him away. And then it has them fill in the blank. It says the Bible says, with his blank, we are healed. So for me, I'm just curious to see like how the curriculums just differ. But it's really my first year picking up like strictly Catholic curriculum in the world of language arts or in the world of math. So I'm just curious if they're at the same level or if one is a little bit more gentle. Again, I have these two older kids, but I also have a 2-year-old and I have a newborn. So I'm also trying to figure out what curriculum am I going to use for the little two when they get to that point. So for me, it's a year of exploring different options and we'll see how it goes. But I do like being able to just look at different things. And then for Riley too, in the Catholic Heritage curriculum, I didn't buy the actual language arts that they have from Catholic Heritage, but I did buy these little devotional books. These look super cute. These are called Devotional Stories for Little Folks and Devotional Stories for Little Folks too, which is just more. So if we're gonna be doing a lot of reading anyway, I wanted to have reading material that was gonna be very much aligned with our faith. So little devotional stories that she can read through. She can pick one and read it to me. And then there's little questions like, what is a covenant? If you are part of God's family, are you adopted too? Does God keep his promises? Did Rebecca have a bike? Like there's vocabulary words, there's questions, reading comprehension. There's scripture too. So having books like this is just great because Riley reads a ton in her bed. Riley just loves to just take a stack of books. She's not tired. She wants things to read. I would much rather her have in her hands books like this that I don't even have to really pre-read because I know they're going to be aligned with our faith than a random stack from the library that I'm not exactly sure what content is going to be in them. These I thought were great and I'm sure that I will read them alongside her and I'm going to be learning too, and good discussion can come from there. Now we've done like general language arts, we've done handwriting, we've done spelling. She's got lots of stuff that she can read. Something that I wanted to really incorporate into our schooling this year too is more literature-based learning. Meaning like I want Riley to read some really great quality books because as much reading as we have done over the past few years, we haven't really touched on a lot of like the classics. Like we haven't touched on a lot of those books that are on those great reading lists. And I think that there's a lot that not only can she learn, but also like me. Like I feel like I didn't read a lot of these books. Like I, as a child, don't remember reading Charlotte's Web. I never read Winnie the Pooh. Like there's a lot of those classics that I want to read and I want my children to read. So I found from Memoria Press, they have a set of books like in their curriculum. One of the things that they do is they have like a bunch of books laid out as like, this is what we recommend that you read in 2nd grade. And there's like a bunch of books and then they will sell you the books themselves. And then they'll also give you a teacher guide and a student guide. So for example, I picked up this one, Bramley Hedge, just to see what this looks like, to see if it's a way that Riley enjoys to learn. So the student guide like has vocabulary words, comprehension questions, discussion questions on the chapter, talks about the plot, talks about the setting. So for me, who I've never like, you know, taught a specific book, I think it might be helpful for me to have a guide and to be like, okay, we're gonna read a chapter together. And now I can open up my teacher's guide and there's questions that I can ask. Because a lot of times, even for me as a teacher, as an adult, as a 35-year-old mom, like there's parts of a story that I miss or it goes over my head. So this is like a way for me to just make sure that we're covering all of those bases and to really ensure that she's just being exposed to good quality literature, which is important to me. So these books look adorable. Like the pictures are really beautiful. Bramley Hedge, I never read this. I have never read it, but we're gonna read it together. There's 2 different ones. There's 2 different books, The High Hills and Sea Story. I guess it is a series, but they have these for so many books. They have them for Charlotte's Web. They have one for Farmer's Boy because we did last year Little House on the Prairie. They have the Farmer's Boy, I think they read in 2nd grade. So they have them all dependent on a certain grade where they recommend that you read them. I don't know, I got one to check it out. I will report back, but I think that's something fun we could do. Then my other idea having to do with books, you guys, like again, this year is gonna be a lot about reading and reading good books, books that I feel like we've kind of missed out on. And if we do nothing else, like that's also, again, they are learning so much. I believe that students can learn so much just from reading good literature. So my idea is that over lunchtime, maybe 3-4 times a week, we're gonna do a very loose 5 in a row with the big kids. And if you've never heard of 5 in a row, 5 in a row is basically just that, like having the kids read a book 5 days in a row. And there's a beautiful book list. All of the recommended books are there. And then the idea is that like this is one of the books that we're gonna read, Night of the Moon Jellies, or I think we're gonna start it like next week. So you'll read this on Monday. And then the curriculum will tell you like, okay, for that story, here's something that you can do to teach the kids about language arts. Here's something that you can do to teach the kids about art. Here's something that you can do to teach the kids about math. Here's something that you can do to teach the kids about geography. For science, you're gonna study moon jellies, whatever. Like it tells you something that you can do to cover a lot of different topics with just one book. But the curriculum guide is what you need in order to have like all of that information. I have these old versions of 5 in a Row because I got them hand-me-down from another homeschool mom that is in one of our co-ops, and she was an angel and gave them to me, but they have like an updated version of them. I think between volumes 1 and volumes 2, there's like 40 something books. So even if we do half of that, even if we do a quarter of that, I will be happy if we get through like 10 really great books that eventually just become part of my kids' childhood and books that they enjoy and books that they remember reading. But I like the idea of teaching the kids social studies, geography. Like when you're reading a book and they're saying like, oh, this takes place in New Jersey, then you can open up your atlas, you can find New Jersey, watch a video about New Jersey. Again, this is gonna be a book about moon jellies at one point, so let's watch a documentary on moon jellies. Let's have a conversation about what we would do if we were at the beach. Draw a beautiful picture from the book, or draw what you would like to do at the beach. Like taking just something very simple and expanding on it, I think can be a really beautiful way to learn. So we're gonna do that loosely. If we get through it again 3 to 4 times a week, awesome. If we get to just like one component, like if we read this and we only get to really cover like social studies, okay, cool. If we get to the idea in here that's like covering science or health, awesome too. Like I'm not gonna hold myself to anything strict with 5 in a Row, but I think it can be great for learning, for discussion. And what was really exciting to me is that 5 in a Row, this is something that I didn't know existed, they have a Bible supplement for the volumes. So for example, when you read Night of the Moon Jellies, let me see if I can find it. Or like, let's go with Madeline, because Madeline is one of the ones that they will read this year. So when you read Madeline in this Bible supplement, there's a bunch of Bible references that it'll tell you that you can, you know, refer to, but it's also giving you ways to tie in the faith. So like if you remember Madeline, if you read it, you know, like the little girls would line up in a row and everything was like neat and tidy. So like here it says, one can see that God is a God of order. And so you're discussing how God is a God of order based off of something that the book, you know, is kind of talking about. The story of Madeline also has order to it when the 12 little girls appear in groups of 2 or 6. Many of their daily activities are also done in a certain way and in a certain order. As the girls in Madeline smile at the good, we see in them an appreciation for things right and good. This is similar to the Philippians 4:8 verse where they're encouraged to recognize things that are true, honorable, lovely, etc. So you're tying in scripture, you're tying in biblical concepts with these books too. So I don't know, I love that. I think that in and of itself, like you could make an entire curriculum just like, you could just teach your children with this. You absolutely could, especially if they were in pre-K and kindergarten. This could be literally all you needed. We're just gonna use that as just a supplement when we get to it, and I think it can be really just fun bonding time for me and for the kids. So after all of our literature, language arts, math, the core stuff, then I'm gonna have the second part of my day. We're gonna kind of rotate through different supplementary subjects. So that's like the history, Spanish, any art classes. We're gonna do a science like health and body unit studies. So I have a bunch of stuff to show you still. But that's when we're gonna just have subjects that we won't be doing every day. So the rest of this, we will not be doing every day. If we do it like once a week or twice a week, I'd like to at least do Spanish like twice a week. But we're gonna be rotating throughout the rest of the week, these subjects. So I don't want you to think, oh, she's doing all of this every day, because that would be insane and I would have no life and I would hate myself. So we're not gonna do that. But resources that I have for history. We're gonna be doing RC history this year. I used it last year with the kids. I'm not gonna get too in depth with it, but it's a Catholic history curriculum. I haven't put it in the folder yet. I'm still waiting to do that. It runs through a 4-year cycle. So like last year we did Roman history, like all about the Roman Empire. This year it's medieval times, so we're gonna be like reading Robin Hood, and we're gonna be doing just a lot of things with castles and knights. So I'm excited. But what I like about RC history, and I'll try to link to the video where I kind of open it up and show you more of like the layout, but I like that it's, again, history told through a Catholic lens. So in addition to learning just like the history and the times that you're in, you're learning about the saints of the time, you're learning about like where the church was. So I've actually liked it. There's a lot of crafts, there's a lot of just like fun things you can do. And the reason why a lot of people like RC history is it is a family style curriculum. There's like beginner level, which is, I don't know, kindergarten through second grade or whatever, I'm making that up. And then logic level is like third grade through fifth grade. And there's different levels at which they present information appropriate for that grade level. So if you have just lots of different ages within your homeschool group, you can say, okay, you are gonna do the beginner level stuff. And you, that you're older, you're in high school, or you're getting ready for high school, you can do the rhetoric level. And it's just gonna expand upon the stuff that it asks you to do. But you're still discussing like the same time period, and you're still kind of living in that same world, as opposed to like your seventh grader being in like, I don't know, doing Roman history stuff, and then your second grader is doing this kind of stuff. Like everybody's in the same world, which I like. And it's also very open and go, and it tells you exactly what you're reading to the child. So we're gonna keep doing RC history. There's just different things that they're gonna be learning throughout it. There's art books, really pretty art. This is one of the ones that they recommended that you get. This one is a book, The Making of a Knight. So this is a little storybook that we'll read. So they're still gonna be reading books in the history, but it's just gonna be like stuff that I can pick from. Like if I feel like reading Robin Hood to the kids, then we will read Robin Hood. If we don't get to it, okay, because they're also reading so many other books throughout the year. So we'll kind of see. I like to pick up just books like this that they can have to look through, that they can take to bed with them, that they can reference. There's even like a Minecraft book that I bought for them because the kids are obsessed with Minecraft, and this one is like showing them castles and how to build castles, like anything that I can tie into the period of time that we are learning about. I feel like that's just a great way for them to learn. I also bought them magnet tiles. Like there's like these little magnet tile toppers that make like castles. Like it makes the little buildings that they make look like a castle. So I'll give them those. Things like that we will be doing. And then these are also just part of the curriculum. It's like they make like little paper dolls of the famous figures of the time, Middle Ages and Renaissance. So they can make little paper dolls maybe if they're into that. This is a companion reader, which is where I'm reading information to them. So that is RC history. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Like I mentioned, we are going to be doing Spanish, and Spanish is something that I've been dying to get my kids like into learning about or finding a way to teach them. We're from Miami, Florida. My background is Cuban. So like I understand Spanish, I can speak it fairly well, but I'm also married to someone that doesn't speak any Spanish. So in the home, we don't speak Spanish, but we live in Miami, Florida, so we need to speak Spanish. So whatever, we're trying to do it. I found this new curriculum that I'm excited to try. It's called Homeschool Languages Spanish. And I printed everything out. I made the mistake of buying the digital one. I'm gonna tell you straight up, purchase the physical copy because it'll save you a lot of work. The physical copy is more expensive than the digital version, but I have spent days like printing things out, laminating things, and it has honestly been a pain in the butt. Like I laminated a bunch of these little cards and cut them when the physical copy would have just like brought everything to me. So that's my tip, do with it what you wish. But it does kind of remind me of Good and the Beautiful style. You have a lesson, it tells you like, say this to the student. There's audio you can listen to. Here you're listening to a song. I have not done a lesson, so I cannot report to you if I love it or not, but this is an option, and I will be filling you in more later in a vlog or something on how I enjoy it. We're gonna give it a shot, even with Jackson, who again is the kindergartner, and see if he can pick up anything. If he can pick up a little bit, great. Riley has had a lot of success with Duolingo. She has an iPad that I let her use for Spanish for that class, and she does Duolingo, and she's actually picked up the most Spanish ever in her life using Duolingo. But I also wanted something that we can just do together. Something that I do want the kids also just to have some kind of familiarity with is music, because I grew up not really knowing anything about music. Again, music and art, actually there's a lot of holes in my educational like lifetime. Like there's a lot of gaps. I feel like I know very little about geography. I know very little about history. I know very little about music, about art. Like there's so much that I did not learn, which is one of the reasons why I love homeschooling so much, because I am teaching myself as I am teaching my children. So I want them to be exposed a little bit to music. They right now don't play any instrument, but maybe they develop an interest in an instrument. So I want to just like expose them to that world. So Good and the Beautiful has this music appreciation elective, and we did the first lesson. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. This is a little workbook that comes with it. Right now, I'm not having Riley write in this or like really making her do all the assignments. What you do basically with this is there's the Homeschool app on your phone or whatever. There's like a little Good and the Beautiful app, and you access the videos that go alongside this on your app. So I pulled up the first lesson on my phone and I airplayed it to my TV, and then we listened to the lesson together. It was like 20 minutes. I don't think the lessons are more than about that, 20, 25 minutes. Some of them I saw there's like 14 minutes, but there's 22 lessons in here, 22 lessons. And I thought that we would, again, just maybe a random afternoon, hey, we're bored, we don't have anything to do, let's do a music appreciation lesson together and watch it. And they're learning about different instruments, they're learning about history of music. Some of this is about Mozart. And then what is also very cute is there's some hymns, there's Christian lyrics, there's a lot of mention of God and how God made music and how God made us all unique. And you can think of how instruments are all unique, but when you come together, you make this beautiful song. There's a lot of references to God. And then like this one, lesson 2 is learning the hymn Amazing Grace, and then it has the lyrics to Amazing Grace. So if we can learn some hymns and we can talk about God and learn about instruments, like I'm all for that. So I, again, did lesson 1 and I was really impressed. I really liked it. So we'll continue to do that. I'm also going to continue every once in a while pulling out my national parks books. I told you guys that over the summer we did little unit studies on national parks. We did the Everglades, we did Biscayne Bay National Park, we did also Yellowstone. So the kids are learning about different national parks, and this is the way that I'm going to expose them to like learning about the US here, like learning about the states, learning about what you can find in the different states here in America. I feel like there's just like a lot that they can learn about geography, about science, through learning about the national parks. Because again, I have not visited any national parks. I don't really know much about national parks, but I think the kids will enjoy that, like learning about the states in a fun way and just reading books. This is one that I just have in my personal collection that I really love because the illustrations are beautiful and it gives you facts about each of the national parks. This is another one that I checked out from the library, but I'm going to be buying it. It's like stories about the national parks. So between those 2 books, you can totally do like little unit studies on national parks, because this year our history, it's not covering American history. It's not covering really anything US based. Next year, RC history will do all about early American history. So we're going to be living in that world next year. But for now, we can learn something through, I think, learning about the national parks. So that's kind of my plan. And then this year too, this year is very important to us because Riley's gonna be receiving her first communion, you guys. So I'm excited to teach her. Normally kids have to go to CCD for 2 years, or they're in a Catholic school, so they're covering that, but our parish is letting me do the catechesis for her here at home. So I wanna make sure that she is prepared for receiving her first communion. So from Catholic Heritage, I bought their like religion book for her, 2nd grade. So there's like different lessons here that she will be reading and that I'll be doing with her. And then they also have this book, which I think is going to be the best for her for, you know, receiving her first communion. It's called Preparing to Receive Jesus. So just different lessons on that. And this will just do once a week, and it should be exactly what she needs to make sure that she's ready for that. I think there's a little packet with like activities that we can do. This will be like the bulk of our communion prep, but I'm sure that there will be other things that I can just randomly do throughout the year with her too. So she's gonna have that, again, once a week. I figured that if she's doing that once a week, that I could do the same with Jackson, do some kind of faith-based learning with him. This is also from Catholic Heritage Curriculum. There's a teacher guide and a student activity book. He seemed very excited about this. So why not give him just more information about the faith? So this, again, Catholic specific. There's little lessons, there's mazes, there's like really cute stuff in here that's very gentle. If we get to it, fantastic. If not, like, again, I never did a specific religion class with Riley in kindergarten, and she still like knows a ton about her faith. We go to mass every Sunday. For Jackson especially, this wasn't super necessary. Whatever, there were funds available to us. Again, such a blessing, and I figured I would do something with him while doing something with her, and it'll be just a good way to keep them entertained. Okay, sorry, my camera battery is about to die, but I wanted to share just a couple last things with you guys. I picked up from Catholic Heritage this encyclopedia. Again, just a good encyclopedia for us to have as part of our collection. Riley will enjoy reading through that. But the big thing that we're doing for science this year, you guys, is we're doing a health and human body, like total study. We've never really touched upon this. So I have all of this stuff here. Look, I have books just stacked here that we will go through. Some of this stuff we'll use, some of this we'll go back to the library. We're gonna study the human body. I bought this unit study from The Good and the Beautiful. Really is just like a guide for me. Like I said to you guys on Instagram, like I bought this so that I had a way to make sure that I'm covering all my bases, because I'm not a science teacher and I am not a scientist and I'm not a nutritionist or anything like that. So I needed to have some kind of guide to know, like, where do I start? What are the key things that they need to learn about? So for example, this is all about the digestive system, and it tells me, you know, read to the student. There are some little projects and science experiments that you can do. So we're gonna get into all of that, and I'm excited about that. And then to go with this, I bought literally all of this stuff. So this is like the squishy guy that all his organs come out. The kids will like to play with that. Like, I wanna make science fun for them. I bought them some Yodo cards. These are the human body Yodo cards because the kids love their Yodo player. So these they'll learn a ton from. I don't even have you on my tripod anymore. You're on a stack of books now. You are on my handwriting book. But I told you guys that I bought this little girl too, that she like unzips, you guys, and like all her organs come out, which I think will be a fun way for the kids to like practice that. So all of her organs, they come out and then they Velcro back in. So things like this we will have laying around our house, and whatever, it's gonna be a zoo in here, but they are going to learn. They are going to learn. I have a lot of Usborne books. So books like this, the Lift the Flap books. This one is like falling apart because we have actually like gone through this one a lot. So I'll have a bunch of books that they can look through. These are from the actual curriculum from Good and the Beautiful. So this is technically like a 3rd grade, whatever, unit study. So again, if Jackson doesn't understand at a 3rd grade level, that's fine. He's just being exposed to these concepts. So this is like a little K through 2nd grade little workbook. It's mostly like coloring pages and stuff that he can do. For Riley, I'm gonna give her this student journal. And again, if she fills out some of it, excellent. If not, then that's okay. She's not in 3rd grade yet, and I don't expect her to have the same capabilities as like an 8th grader. So again, just exposure, discussion. These are some of the books that also came with the unit study, or that I, you know, added supplemental. The Story of a Cold, and this is Amazing Facts About Bones. So when we learn about bones, this is something that she will definitely love. This was a really good book that's very gentle and like child friendly. If you're looking for one to buy, this one I bought for my collection specifically because, again, just very kid friendly. I don't have to really worry about anything in this book that I'm not ready to teach my kid about. Some of these are library books because I'm still trying to figure out if I want to give them to my kids, because again, it's kindergarten and 2nd grade. I'm not really sure exactly what information I want to present to them about the body, about whatever. I want to make sure that it's at an age appropriate level. This one I bought though, and I think this one is a really good one. The point is that there are a million books like this that you can get at the library. You don't need this many pictures of a heart in your home. You don't need this many pictures and books about all of this, you know, just laying around. So I may occasionally just like rent some, like I'm gonna send these back to the library, or I'm gonna go to library jail, but then I'll order some and flip through them, and they can just be references for the kids. And then I got them like a puzzle, so that's something fun that they can do. And then I got them also Operation, which they already played with their dad, which they really liked, just to get them excited about learning. So yeah, a million years later, that is really my plan for the year. Trying to think if I forgot anything else. Oh, for the music class, I also ordered them some Yodel cards that are about classical music. So they will have some exposure to the classical music and their Yodel player. But yeah, like I said, just lots of stuff. I think of it very much like a feast. Like I am into some of the Charlotte Mason stuff, not 100% Charlotte Mason, but it's like a feast of information, of knowledge. And I really hope to just like be able to spark interest in things. Obviously there's certain things that we have to do. Like I said, the core stuff we gotta do. We gotta do math. The kids have to learn how to read. But the whole point is to get them able to read so that they can teach themselves and they can read books on topics that interest them, and that I can just create lifelong learners. That is my goal as a homeschool mama, and obviously that I you know, continue to teach them the faith and that I get them to heaven. Like, that is literally my goal in life. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, you guys. If you have questions about anything or anything you want to see more of, let me know. But again, I'll be sharing day in the life vlogs of what we're doing here in the house. So definitely check those out. Stick around, subscribe if you're not already. And that is it, because I am done and I have to go put all this stuff away. So I love your faces. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you guys soon in my next video. Bye, guys.